What's going on YouTube? Lee here on Delgu Racing Channel, and today we have something a little bit different. We're doing a little bit of a hot lap. It's an okay time with the truck. For references, my setup is a PC version of the game, but I am using a gamepad. Later on when I do some Forza stuff, you will see with Forza I am using a steering wheel, but with this game it's only a gamepad. Now, mostly what I was trying to do here is run a good lap in this whole test session setup. I will say that I did take this setup to career mode because I restarted career mode, which I mentioned in my last video, which I'll get to uploading that. But the only problem I ran into is maybe your truck's not warmed up enough, well, ranked up enough, or maybe the track's really green with more trucks running on it, so I wasn't able to get the time that I got here, which is an alright time, 32.8 with a gamepad, but you'll see I'm carrying very good speed into the corners here. And fastest way, the way to lay down fast laps is by carrying good speed through the corners, because anyone can smash the throttle going down the front stretch. So after playing around with a couple different setups, this was the setup that I came to, and that pretty much was a lap there. I mean, it's self-explanatory. I was running mostly a middle groove, as you can see, not all the way on the bottom. I got to the bottom in 3 and 4 there on the exit of the actual lap, but here I get a side look at the truck. Pretty cool looking truck, man, with that color. But here we will get into my actual setup for this truck. Now, what I really do when I'm starting to get a truck set up is obviously you go right to the springs. The springs I went to, and front springs, I feel like to really get it to turn how I want, I just go max most of the time, or near max. With the rear springs, I went pretty soft. I think that would have fought that rotation there is if I had come down on that right rear spring, because it felt like it wanted to get a little loose there on me off 4 and just come around. With the air pressures, you try to aim for near, if it's not going to be 50, near 50 on some of like the 1.5 milers, because of helps with grip and top speed. And then as you see with the weight settings, I'm pretty neutral with the weight settings. I lowered the ride heights because that's pretty common sense. The wedge I didn't touch because the wedge can throw your whole setup for a loop, and I really should have probably tightened it up to a little bit, but I will explain how I use this setup when I have like a very neutral front. I have a little front weight. You have the left weight, of course, but then you have like neutral wedge. So when I get over to the miscellaneous section, I just left that. I believe that's how it was. It was stock. I probably could have put a little more camber in it to help it turn, but it was turning really well. The front sway bar is 1.5, 1.5. We left that inches where it was. But where I really use this kind of neutral setup to adjust looseness and tightness in my truck is the track bars. And I try to keep them as even as possible, or close to, because you will feel the truck kind of skate a little bit in the back. And as you see, I had some skating there, but I'll tell you how I get around that after I go through my progression, which is weight. I do the shock, the springs, you do the weight, do a little tire settings. Then when we do the track bar, we use that to either tighten or loosen up the car. Now, when I get it to where I feel like I like how it's driving, what I end up doing is messing with the bump in the shock setups, the bump and the rebound. What I found with this game is that with the bump settings or rebound, when you find a area where you enjoy driving the truck, you feel comfortable with it, or car in this case, in this game, I felt that I like to set up my vehicles to be loose, because loose as you can drive it, as fast as you can drive it, is probably the best setup, because over time it's going to tighten up. You know, in this game, when the tires knock off, it might get a little more loose, but still loose is fast. So what I do with the bumps in this game is I will run laps, and as I run laps, I will mess with either the left front or the right front, and I'll go either a click one way or another way, and only with mostly one setting at a time to see if it changes any difference when I'm loose, either entering in the center or off the corner, because I found in this game that's what helps adjust that. So if you're wondering why I have a pretty staggered number for the bumps and rebounds, that's why that setup is like that. But I wanted to explain the whole setup before I actually got to explaining how I tune when it comes to dealing with a loose machine, because I like having it as loose as I can driving it, and sometimes it feels like it wants to come around, and that's how I deal with that setting when it wants to come around. Now, I forgot to mention the brake bias. I had it turned up to 70. They really help get it to turn a little bit. But grill tape, I think this might have been like where it was a stock setup. I did bring the wheel lock down a little bit and the steering offset. That's just more personal preference, how I was comfortable. And I think I might have knocked up the rear end ratio. But that is my setup for that run. It was an okay lap. You know, I'm hoping down the line I could squeeze a little more speed out of it, because the only track I ran hot laps at was Dover, and I had a very good lap with Dover, but I went a different setup, and I'll show you guys that in the future, probably next week sometime. I'm hoping to get the video out, because I did a whole different thing with the weight settings and things like that. But that will be the video for the day. I just wanted to tell everyone thank you for hanging out. I'm going to put my last video in the end screen. It's a doozy. It's a long one. It's an hour because you got to go through all the exhibitions, and I've been running all my games on expert settings, so I don't have any driving aids, because it's more fun to try to play around with setups and see how you enjoy setting up the machine to your liking, because it's all personal preference. And it's as fast as you can drive a car, and it's as loose as you can drive a car fast. And that's pretty much the best setup for me, personally, in these games. But that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to keep this content going. I am back uploading. I've figured out a lot of editing that I wanted to figure out, and voice work, and, you know, just working on thumbnails, just staying busy in real life, staying busy in the digital world with the gaming. But that's it. We're going to get out of here. Del U Racing out. I will see you guys later. Have a good day. And remember, to have a good day, you have to make it a good day. Bye.